Mental health is a very important piece of our lives. Mental health is a very important part of my life. Having emotional resilience in a world that is very complex, having emotional resilience in a place and time when mental health is not necessarily everybody's strength, or we don't necessarily have the wherewithal to have the power or the strength at times when we need others, at times when we rely on others, at times when we're not sure if we can rely on others, at times when we don't know if it's okay to rely on others, at times when we're not sure if what we're experiencing is a codependency or an independency, if what we're experiencing is okay, if we're worthy of love, if we're worthy of life, if we're worthy of anything. I've had numerous experiences in my life where people have decided to take their own lives. And I recently had, my father had a good friend of his who decided to take his own life. And this was not something that he did one day. It was something that he'd been planning for a while, based on mental pain, based on emotional pain. And I've had numerous experiences of people who have done this over time and have done this over mental anguish is what we're going to call it. Emotional anguish. And today's topic is about being able to build an emotional resilience in you, but also to be able to communicate with people when you have struggles emotionally, mentally, to be able to have you go and communicate to other people this very thing, for you to be able to communicate to your children, for you to be able to communicate to the people in your life, because I don't think there is really good communication around this. How do you go tell somebody you're suicidal? How do you go tell somebody that you're in a place where you're in so much pain that you don't know what to do? How do you communicate that? First of all, there is some judgment that we could be concerned about. There could be some worry about concerning those people. There could be some concern that we might not be heard or listened to or validated. How do you communicate your pain? How do you communicate your struggle? How do you communicate when things are very difficult? And here's the thing, when we communicate, sometimes we go so offline, brains are offline, that the people in our life hear what we're saying. And when they hear what we're saying, they hear it in a way that hurts for them, or they hear it in a way where they don't know how to deal with it. They're not even sure how to deal with it, because where you're coming from in that pain is maybe some old trauma. And watching adults in old trauma is difficult for us, right? You have to be really on it. You have to be in your coach mode. You have to have your coach hat on. If you have your Live Lucky coach hat on, right, to be able to coach people in a place where they're in a real struggle, and you have to be very objective. And when the people that love us, or that we love the most in life, especially adults, come from a place where they're not maybe the sharpest, or they're offline and they're coming from some of their traumas, that's hard for us, especially if we're not in a great place. If we're not in a great place, then it's hard for us to communicate that. So today's topic is all about the communication and concept of really communicating emotional pain, to be able to have the conversations with people where you are, in fact, being vulnerable and authentic, but in a place that communicates it so they don't get so set offline that they have struggles. And the way we communicate this is in the place of levels of trauma. So those of you, if you're here, my guess is you've heard me talk about this in some way, shape, or form. I have a podcast that we do where we've talked about it in our podcast. But communication, I don't know if this man, my father's friend, had the ability to communicate and say, hey, I am at this level of trauma. I'm at this level of trauma. I don't think he had that ability to communicate that. Because had he just communicate his pain, how do you really communicate your pain? And how do you communicate to the people you love the most? Because what if it worries them or concerns them? What if you end up in a mental hospital? That could be some fearful things. What if somebody says, I have to call the police because standard says if you are threatening with some kind of harm to yourself, I've got to call the authorities. Otherwise, this could come back on me. There's all sorts of different things we can walk through. And it's like, how do we communicate our pain? How do we communicate our struggles? Will we be judged? Will we be ostracized? Will we be shamed? And there's already so much shame that's carried around when we're struggling with some mental illness or some mental health struggles. So I want to communicate the different levels of trauma. And here they are, the 4 levels of trauma. And being able to have a conversation, to be able to put words to things, I think is critical. And when you're in emotional states, how do you communicate certain things? How do you communicate? Sometimes people will say, how many of you know this? You're like, I'm in a place that I feel like this, but I don't even know. Is that it? Is it overwhelm? Is it stress? Is it worry? Is it fear? Is it, gosh, I don't even know. There's so many words, 3,000 words to describe emotions in the English language alone. How do you describe all those? What are those really? Right. And so if you've watched or read Atlas of the Heart, Brene Brown, I'm a big fan of that book. I'm a big fan of that video series on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. But she talks a lot about how to communicate emotion, how to communicate how you feel and what the word really is. And it's how hard it is for us to really do that. So today I want to help communicate different levels of trauma so that you not only can communicate to people that you love, but you can teach other people this concept so they can communicate to you. Because had my father's friend had this language where he would have been able to call somebody and say, listen, I'm freaked out. I don't want to end up in a psych ward. I don't want to end up on all sorts of medications. I don't want you to freak out. I just want you to know I'm at a level 3. And this is where I'm at in life right now. And I need assistance from you or a professional or somebody out there in the world. So today is about being able to be emotionally resilient, but how to communicate it effectively. So the different levels of trauma, here they are. Level 1, a level 1 trauma. Now, I want you to think about this being brain, right? Here's brain. Here's our prefrontal cortex. Here's our neocortex, brain stem, right? This is brain. And I want you to think in terms of when your brain gets set offline. In other words, when your prefrontal cortex goes offline, and notice it's not functioning anymore. Here's your brain, and prefrontal cortex is not rationally going, oh, here's what's happening in my world. This is rational. Let me communicate this. Prefrontal cortex says, hey, you know what? I know this. This is what's going on. It rationalizes things. It understands things. It's pretty good at telling us what's happening and evaluating situations. When prefrontal cortex is not online, our brain is offline. And this little thing called the amygdala starts to get activated. Amygdala. This is where we come from: fight, flight, or freeze, right? It's also where brain will distort, means it creates all sorts of crazy conversations and all sorts of crazy stories. It's also where it deletes, which means it deletes a lot of information that's very vital to what may be happening in the situation, and it generalizes. And think about one of the scariest generalizations for us when we're offline. It's never going to change. How many of you have ever been in a place where you feel hopeless and it's never going to change? 2020, 21, 20, like when is this thing going to change, right? And then you got this next thing and this next thing, and brain's generalizing. It's never going to change. There's always bad stuff happening. That's a generalization. But our brains do that when we're offline. They also create all sorts of straw stories. You guys know all about straw stories, right? Stories that aren't real, but we create them as real. We think they're real. We actually intuitively go, it must be this. Here's what's happening. I knew this is what she was feeling or what he was feeling. And if that's maybe not true, brain's making things up. And that's what happens when we go offline. The amygdala creates stories. It distorts information. This is when you're offline, don't go sending any emails to people. When you're offline, don't go texting anybody, right? About something, or don't pick up the phone and start having these conversations with people that you think are going to be rational, because your prefrontal cortex is not rational in that moment. So this isn't the time to go and blast people about what they've done in the past, or blast individuals. I got to have a deep conversation with my parent about this. But this is not the great time to do that. Or my siblings or my kids or whoever, right? We're offline. So when brain goes offline, amygdala's activated, we distort, we delete, and we generalize. We fight, flight, or freeze, or even appease at times. And we're not online. And tell me how hard it is sometimes to tell the difference between when you're online and when you're offline. Some of us are really aware of it. We're very conscious, but we can be in the middle of a conversation with somebody and they're like, are you offline? And you're like, I'm not offline. I'm very much online right now. And you're very much not online. You're offline, but you want to think you're online, and you're really in this amygdala space. And so you're not having that conversation from your heart or even from your prefrontal cortex, right? We can tap into our hearts even better. Our bodies are even better place to spend time in. So a level 1 trauma is when brain goes offline, and we can get it back online fairly easy, right? I can get my own brain back online fairly easy. In fact, I liken this to having blisters on your hands. If you have a bunch of blisters on your hands, if I grab this water bottle, it's right? That hurts. But here's the deal. I know it's not massive. I can get some Band-Aids, some ointment, maybe some essential oils. I can throw them on. I'm good to go. This thing's not going to be debilitating. It's not going to debilitate my life. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to use my left hand very much, but I'm going to take care of this. It's like I have some blisters on my hand. So level 1 traumas are things that set you off, right? And create some issues, and brain's not necessarily online, where we're going to create stories, where we're going to distort things, where we're going to generalize, and where we're going to create some struggle. We're going to create some issues here, but we can get ourselves back online fairly easy. So level 1 traumas for me, for example, are I'm driving down the road, and all of a sudden I was driving down the road yesterday, and all of a sudden this motorcycle comes flying by at 150 miles an hour, maybe more. And like cuts right in front of me, and then another one. And there was like 20 of these kids that did this. You could tell they were kids. They're probably 18, 19 years old. Oh my gosh, the scariest thing in the world, like going down this canyon at 150, 200 miles an hour in between cars. And it sent me offline, right? Because I felt danger for these people, but they also cut right in front of me. So that was scary. That set me offline, right? And I was like, whoa. And I started having some fear, and hear all my boys talk about wanting motorcycles, and I'm offline. But I'm able to take a few breaths and go, okay, this lasts for a couple minutes. I take some breaths and I'm back online pretty fast, right? That's a level 1 trauma. So start thinking about some of the level 1 traumas for you in your life. This is really important to know your level 1 traumas, so you can start to have conversations with people. Because when they're like, hey, what's going on? You're like, hey, just level 1 stuff. I went to bed last night with some emotion, and Michelle's, hey, where are you? What's going on? And it was like perfect opportunity to communicate level 1, 2, or 3. And instead I went, just some emotion. I'm not sure quite what's going on. It's just been crazy. My last couple of weeks have been absolutely insane. They've been crazy mentally and physically. I got COVID for the first time. And I know some of you are like, oh my gosh, I know what that feels like. It's like, I never experienced it. And it's crazy. The things that it does to your head, Like for me, not being sharp and not being able to practice my protocols and work out. Oh my gosh, like what a scary freaking thing that's been for me. It's been wild. I've had numerous level ones and numerous level twos and threes over the last couple of weeks that I'm just, it's the stuff. I'm definitely feeling a lot better. So thank you. Yes. I actually have been running for the last 3 days, which has been super cool. I actually went on a 9-mile white walk on Saturday or Friday. That was a little bit of an overdoing it, but yeah, feeling much better. But crazy how this thing's just like, man, it's like I've heard people talk about it. I've never experienced it. I have the empathy to be able to know how you feel or how people feel when they go through it. But it's like level one, I've had level one stuff show up for me numerous times. Maybe Michelle says something, my wife says something to me that feels a little like slide remark or that's probably a level one. I'm like, ooh, that irritates me, right? And I'm able to get myself back online, no big deal. And now I'm back here going, within minutes, I'm fine. A level two is like having a sprained ankle. Now, having a sprained ankle, is that a lot more difficult than having blisters on your hands? It's a lot more difficult, is it not? Think about it. I'm walking along and I'm hobbled. I'm not out doing a lot of the things that I normally do because I have a sprained ankle, right? It's hobbling me and affecting my life a lot more than these blisters on my hand. But here's the deal. I can still handle it, right? I can wrap myself up in a bandage and put some ice on it or some heat, and I'm good. It's level two and I'm good. I can deal with this. It takes a little longer for my brain to get back online, right? It's a little bit more of a struggle, but here's the thing. I can still do it. And how do we do it? What are the best ways? Studies show the best ways you get your nervous system back online. Number one, breath. Hello, breath work. 6 minutes or 36 breaths, right? More out than in, critical. It's critical to our nervous system. Number one. Number two, cold, right? Cold water, especially. So I talk a lot about cold plunges. I talk a lot about cold showers. You guys know that. That's nervous system balancing. So if I'm at a level two and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm offline, and maybe I get into a disagreement with one of my kids, which that's a level two for me. I start getting into this fight with my kids and I'm like, I'm a bad dad. I suck. And I'm like, I got to get myself back online. It's like cold shower time for me. Even cold water on your face or cold water on your neck, critical. Breath work. Third thing is exercise, some form of exercise, right? Critical. Fourth, physical touch. That could be a hug. That could be petting a dog. That's why guide dogs work and guide animals, right? Just petting my dog, even if my dog is filthy, right? It's like petting my dog. My dog's filthy right now, but petting my dog is like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. Physical touch. And then the ohms or the voos or some kind of vocalization, even chants or singing. How many of you have had just like a breakdown and you start singing your favorite song and all of a sudden that did it, boom. So balance that big vagus nerve, right? The biggest nerve in our body, like the voos and the ohms start to help with that process. So singing could save your soul, right? I think that's in a song, isn't it? Or something like that. But yes, absolutely. So those are ways you get yourself balanced. But here's the thing. I have a sprained ankle. Put some heat on it, some ice, a bandage, and I'm good. I'm hobbling around, but I'm good. I can take care of it. So those are ways in which I get my nervous system balanced when I'm at level twos. I'm going to have a little bit more difficult time getting back online, but it's certainly going to get me back online. Yes. And there are a number of things that you guys have out there. Meditation and using different protocols and gratitude exercises and prayer and whatever that may be for you. I'm not sure, but you have things that take care of that for you and get you back online. Now, level three is like having a broken leg. How many of you are strapping two 2x4s and some duct tape to your leg to take care of your broken leg? I hope not. This is where we seek professional help. A level 3 trauma says, I'm in trouble. I need some help. I need a doctor. This is my leg needs help. Now, it might not necessarily mean a level 3 is you need a doctor, but you need some assistance. You are not necessarily going to get back online by yourself. This is, oh my gosh, I'm having trouble big time. This is where, when you're in this space, to be able to communicate to somebody, not, I don't know how I feel, or this is crazy, or maybe I'm just stressed or depressed, or I don't know. This is, I am at a level 3. That's it. That's all you have to communicate. Here's the thing. Had my father's friend said, I am at a level 3, everybody stops what they're doing and attends to this man. That's what happens. If you have a child that comes to you and says, I'm at a level 3, everything stops and you attend to this child. When my kids have come to me and said, Dad, I'm level 3, they don't have to tell me all the ways they feel, because how's a 17-year-old going to tell me how they feel? How's a 15-year-old going to tell me how they feel? Sometimes how's a 37, 47, 57-year-old going to tell you how they feel? It's challenging. But being able to say, I'm at a level 3, I can't do this alone. I need help. Now, that in itself is hard to ask. But just to be able to tell people I'm at a level 3. So if my kids come to me and say I'm at a level 3, everything stops. It's conversation, it's doing body work, right? It's really putting them in a relaxation place. It's being in that space with them. That's a level 3. Imagine having the conversation where somebody's able to communicate and say, I'm at a level 3. I stop everything and I show up for you. To be able to have professionals that you might need to go to. That might be coaches, that might be body workers, that might be therapists. I don't know, but sometimes that's required. Not always, but to be able to communicate to somebody, listen, I am at a level 3. When I get into a fight with my wife, I got to tell you guys, it didn't used to be a big deal. I used to be able to just, they were level 1s. Today, 51 years old, when I get into a fight with Michelle, it's a level 3. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if I opened myself up so much over the last few years, the last 3 years, that I've got to a place where I just am so vulnerable with her that there's so much. Maybe I've become a little bit dependent on my wife. She helped me warrior through cancer. That was a big deal, right? So when I get into a disagreement with my wife, it's level 3 for me, for sure. When I have some upcoming doctor appointment, right? When I have my 6-month checkup where I go in and get my blood work and I get checked to see how, hey, am I still clear of any cancer? I got to tell you, 2, 3, 4 days before that, I'm a level 3s. I'm level 3s for sure. And the appointment after, and when I'm after I'm done, you'd think it's like, I'm in the clear, everything's good. I'm still level 3s. And to be able to communicate to that to that and say those words to people is so critical. I'm at a level 3. To be able to have conversations with my kids where they're able to come to me and I know at the best of their ability, if I'm on the phone with them or something's going on, they can say to me, I'm a level 3. I know that I stop everything. This is where I go, right? But notice the difference between saying, I'm confused, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm depressed, I'm at level 3. I don't know what's going on. It just means I need help right now. I need help. And maybe it's just a conversation. Maybe it's just a hug. Maybe it's just somebody to sit with that says, I don't have to be anywhere except right here with you. That's a level 3. A level 4 is like having an amputation. In other words, a level 3, you're going to get back from. Your leg's going to heal. The anxiety attack will go away. The stress, the fight about the stress will go away. That will heal. It will come back. It may take a couple of hours. It may take a couple of days. A level 4, there's no healing. This is like a death of somebody. This is having anxiety or depression or mental illness. This is a struggle. This is not like you are going to recover from all. I'm not going to someday get my leg back if I have an amputation. Now, what I do with that, and now I might have a bionic leg. I see a woman run every day in the park with a bionic leg, and she runs faster and longer than I do. But I guarantee she does not wake up every morning and go, I should have a leg. So level 4s are about 100% about acceptance. I've accepted that this is a loss that I have. Like, how many empty nesters are out there? Are you getting close? Tell me there's not a loss to some degree there. Oh my gosh, that's hard, because your role was either mom or dad, and you put everything into it. That's for sure. Oh my gosh, my youngest is 15. It's almost 16 years old. This is only a couple more years, and then it's like, this is a scary thing. That could be a level 4 trauma for people. The death of my mother was level 4 trauma for sure. My mom's not coming back. Having anxiety, having mental struggles, having PTS around some stuff, this is level 4. I've got to have a certain level of acceptance. We've got to have a certain level of acceptance in that space. That's a level 4 though. Man, when things come up around my mother's death, or when things come up around health, or when those are level 4s. But I've got to accept that's part of me. It doesn't mean that I don't manage it. I manage it very well. But level 4 traumas are when you're able to communicate to somebody, listen, I'm at a level 4 trauma. That's vital. Because it's like, it's something that's gone on in the past. It's a struggle. It's something that I'm holding on to. It's something that is part of me, and I've got to have some acceptance in it. And sometimes it's so hard to accept our weakest, isn't it? Our biggest struggles, our hardest things, our most difficult wounds. Our wounds are our level 4s, and there's got to be some acceptance in our level 4s, or else we're not going to be able to deal with life. So level 4 traumas, and to be able to communicate that, right? This is a severed leg, and now, and looking at a severed leg, I'm going to put a bionic leg on it, and I'm going to go out and conquer the world. Or I'm going to sit on the couch and be really angry that I don't have a leg anymore. I'm going to be hurt and disappointed. I'm going to be a victim, and I'm going to be all the things and not going to take charge. So level 4s, are they traumatizing? Oh my gosh, are they? Imagine losing a leg. I don't know, those of you maybe who have, or an arm, or that's a big deal. What do you do about that? Do you accept it? Do you warrior up and go, this is a level 4. It's not coming back. This is something that I struggle with. These are my wounds, but they are my greatest strengths because they help me help other people. Right now, in any level 4s for you, is life happening to you, or is life happening for you, guys? So level 4 traumas are heavy. They're intense. They're over the top sometimes. Do we need help? We need help. I'm at a level 4. That's where I'm at. I need some assistance here. I'm struggling. Maybe this is where we stop everything and we bring assistance to those people when we're in that space. Yeah. Is life happening for you or to you? That becomes the question when you're at a level 4. And acceptance may be the key to your healing. So today, emotional resilience, not the brightest of subjects, but I have to talk about this concept to be able for you to communicate, and for other people to be able to communicate to you what's going on when they're struggling internally, what's happening with them inside. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So when people communicate with you and they say, hey, what's going on? You can say, hey, level 1 stuff, level 1 stuff, level 2 stuff, level 3, or level 4. And for them to be able to communicate to you this conversation, to be able for them to communicate what level of trauma they're at.